All right. Welcome back, people. If there are any people. Jimmy, as you can see, he's doing show research somewhere out in Mexico. However, in the meantime, Antisocial Experience, episode 143, Movie Makers, I believe, is what I titled. I'm not sure. We do have a guest today. I'm going to flip over to him. This guy actually wrote into us, which is different. Usually I rate people, but this guy wrote in and took him up on the awesome opportunity. You still there?
Hi, yeah.
All right. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the Jimmy for today. I'm Jimmy Kustes. I have a movie out. It's called Body Swap. It's on bodyswapmovie.com. I play a slob. I gained weight for the role, and it was like I play a slob that trades places with a career-minded businesswoman, and you can see the trailer on that website, bodyswapmovie.com. Check it out.
I actually have it up. I'm trying to think where. I will flip over to it quick. Right here, and then we'll pull the tab up. This one, correct?
hmm
Yes. Pull
It
the
looks like
videos.
Russian when it's backwards. It's backwards on my screen, but probably not on yours.
Yeah, right. No, that's the effect. Either I have to mirror it for you or mirror it for them. Let's get back to this. I will confess, I did not buy my virtual cinema ticket yet. I'm tossed up between either do I rent it or do I own it?
Well, that's that would be nice of you to support me, but I gave a podcast. I won't say what the code is, but if you check your email, I gave you a code for podcasters. You can see it for free.
Oh, okay. Well, the other thing too is about the toss up about whether renting it or owning it, just as a common person.
Yeah, that's the thing is it matters what the purchase price is. I guess not speaking amount. It's like they're usually like $4 and $10 on the virtual cinema. It's like $10 to rent and 20 to buy right now. Because of the pandemic, like all the prices are a little higher, but you're getting the movies earlier. These would be movies that will be in theaters and be
Right.
watching them there, and they'd be paying $10 a ticket. So $20 to watch it anytime you want to own it. It's still a pretty good deal in that regard. But yeah, it's always an interesting thing. I think physical media is going to come back. I don't know
You
when,
mean
but
the collecting of it?
yeah, owning it because well, it's just like people like owning things, like, and also like with censorship and like worried about whether you can get like Gone with the Wind or whatever, you know, people might start collecting again. So I think that might make a comeback.
Right. I was a collector. I've collected things, and that's what I miss is that tangible. Open the CD, read the lyrics, see the art. Whether it be a
hmm
comic book or movies. See, I miss that aspect of digital media because it takes up literally no space on a hard drive.
I think though that the migration away from physical media and independent um, and movie theaters might help independent films because it's real easy to put it on. I have it on Vimeo on demand. Vimeo only takes 10%. iTunes takes 30%, whereas a movie theater would take 50%. Um, so it might be beneficial in the long run of people migrating away from that stuff.
Oh, definitely, definitely. If you're in the business of making any type of media like that, one thing I've always wondered, and I know anybody can probably go and Google it to to find a simple answer, but being able to speak to somebody with experience, and I'm not, not saying experience on your level or the greatest filmmakers ever. I'm just saying experience wise, you can answer
Yeah,
questions that other people can't. I couldn't answer the
yeah,
question.
I've been through the process.
What's that? Well, like here's something I've always wondered. Okay, you did what? Writer, producer, and actor, lead actor, or actor.
Yeah,
Okay,
lead
what?
actor.
That seems like a lot of hats to put on. Like, okay, a writer, that's screenplay related, right?
hmm
Okay.
And,
What does a producer
and
do?
that does. Um, the producer does like that could be any that's such an open title that to certain people it doesn't always mean the same thing. It's not like it's a kind of a funny title because it's the only thing where like if you're a dentist, you're a dentist. You can't be like um the producer could be anything from they just write checks to they're the first one on the project to the last, you know.
Okay.
Um like uh who's who am I thinking of? Adam Sandler. He doesn't. I know Ben Stiller directs movies, but Adam Sandler, you know, acts, produces, and writes his stuff because and Tiffany Haddish, I think she's also writer, actor, producer. As you can't direct. Ben Stiller maybe is the only one. There's a few like Clint Eastwood that Sylvester Stallone directed Rocky, but and I might direct my next one. But it's good to have a director to sort of have a not bias towards your you know they can out look at your performance from the outside and sort of give you tips and stuff when it comes to acting, but producing you can do outside of the directing you can do a lot of stuff beforehand, setting it up, getting the locations, getting the wardrobe, and just checking off on things that you know you want the movie to look like.
Okay. It also seems that the bigger the production, you would have like some backup. But say doing a smaller production or an independent film, would a producer wear many hats? Like you're doing
Yeah.
the smaller the production, the more there is to do.
Yeah, well, like I do casting. You would have a casting director. You might even have a casting department. The bigger the project, where you know they'll have a different casting department for the extras than the like main cast, and then even certain casting directors will. The director always signs off on the cast. They don't just let a casting director cast their whole movie. But
All right.
some casting directors are so highly regarded that their opinion holds a lot of weight.
Okay.
um, who they bring in and who they. So but this one I did the casting, and you would have a location scout. I did a lot of location scouting.
I heard.
Um,
I listened to a few interviews just to kind of get a little bit of research or whatever. You did that in was it Louisville or
yeah, yeah,
like entirely there? That's
yes.
where you shot it.
hmm Shot every scene, and nothing outside of there.
Wow. That's. I mean, the lengths that they go to for some movies. They got to go here to shoot this scene, and then the other side of the globe to do this, and you did it all within one location.
Yeah, I was just watching Doctor Sleep last night and looking through the trivia. It's this sequel to The Shining that they made like recently, but The Shining was made in 1980.
Okay.
And when they made The Shining, they shot it in Europe, UK, England, but it was an American cast. And then the Doctor Sleep, they say, oh, all these British actors are in it, but it was shot in America. You know,
Yeah,
so
they vice
um,
versa did the switch the roles, I guess.
like I might have a movie that takes place in Hawaii, but I'm looking to shoot it in Florida
That could
because it's easier to get to. You know,
that could be done.
it's easier to get.
Yeah. Well, that the only like one thing I was impressed by, non-related to your movie and a bit off topic. You mentioned Hawaii though, is Lost. You remember that TV show?
Yes, I didn't see it, but I mean, I know
A
of
lot
it.
of
Yeah,
that was shot there, and it's like, how could they do so much with a place that was populated? Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
unreal.
Although a lot of Hawaii is not after Honolulu, it's not populated. That's why I kind of picked it for a horror movie setting, as you can find secluded parts of it. It's very untamed. I've never been there, but I was like, there have been island horror movies before, though.
Well, yeah, definitely. Couple of them. Another thing that I also wondered, kind of along the lines of that first question about the writer, producer, and then acting. How like that seems like a very hard thing to balance if you're gonna be in the movie. Like, because how many movies are there out there that you could probably name a dozen if you're a huge movie fan, where the same name is writing, producing, sometimes even directing and acting in it. Like How do you balance something
Yeah,
like that?
well, the I look at it now. I've done everything from the writing now down to the subtitling and doing this marketing campaign. Is that I've seen the movie so much that I see the flaws in my acting.
Right.
To now I can improve it so much more for the next performance. Um, yeah, I think it's a combination of you gotta like trust yourself that what you're making is gonna resonate with people
Right.
and people are gonna like it. You're walking a fine line of like, oh, this has been done before, or it's just no one understands what the thing it is. So you know, like if it's something that's just uh cliche and not I've seen it a million times before, why make it?
Right. Yeah, I mean, why not make it though in that case? It's because are you gonna do it the same way that the other 4 or 5 guys did
Yeah.
it, or do you have something different to include? You know? The
Mhm.
littlest of changes can it's weird how changes in life or whatever you're working on can have such a drastic effect in the outcome of something.
Yeah, and I didn't think there'd be like 3 body swap movies out this year, and they're all different, like, that are like Processor. There's this one, I don't know much about it, but I think it's like a horror, and then there's the Freaky, which is kind of a satire, kinda like mine, where they took the classic genre, where I would take the classic genre of a romantic comedy, and you'd have the career woman, and then you'd have the guy that doesn't have things together, and then instead of just that, you also add a body swap comedy on that. This Freaky coming out is kind of similar in that it's a horror movie, and that they um, have a girl and Vince Vaughn's serial killer, like the final girl. They switch places, so they just added combined genres too, and I'm hoping that has uh, like a volcano Dante's Peak effect on my movie, and people go check it out.
Yeah, hopefully. That would be awesome.
I mean, if they look up body swap movie, they'll find mine. So hopefully, body swap movies will be on people's minds.
One thing about production or whatever on the movie, I guess the acting part. Was there a part where you and the actress where you had to, like was there any planning, any type of whatever to beat each other, or did you just each do your own take on what you thought each other would be like? Do you know what I mean?
I think I think next time I might do rehearsals. It might be a more affordable, might be more affordable in the long run instead of like on the fly figuring things out. But I don't think we had the respect of like all we had was a hour long movie that movie in quotes because it was just $0 totally improv and we just put it out there. And that was enough to at least get people on board that have like some acting experience, but not enough to like um I was surprised the lead actress took it as seriously as she did, and she actually um, studied, took some more acting classes, and like really studied up on the part and like practiced the screenplay prior to coming in. And I did not expect that, and it worked really well. And we didn't even have like usually would have chemistry reads or something like that, but the reviews have actually said that the chemistry is pretty good and that we play off each other well, which is interesting because uh, the reviews are like some of the people were like, "Oh, it's amateurish," but the acting from Ella Jordan was real good, or something like that. They'll say things like that. So um, we didn't we didn't trick anybody into thinking this was a higher production, but we squeezed every bit of production out of it, and the reviews have been pretty good, and we got some awards from film festivals, and like the reviewers have been very forgiving, where they're like, "We know this has no budget, but we like it anyway."
And another thing that comes to mind, like I said, I have cameras, I have microphones, I even have
Mhm.
almost production level for recording. But how does one get into making a movie? If there's any aspiring wanna be
I don't.
filmmakers out
I
there.
don't even know if like I will definitely make another movie. If this one can break even. I think it's possible. The amount of work to get it to just break even is um, kind of silly because, like you said, you can get a microphone, a camera, and then you get yourself a nice computer and you can just play games on Twitch and probably make as much money as a movie will make nowadays.
Right.
Um, uh, but if you want to get into filmmaking, yeah, it's there's no better time, like because now you have the excuse of like you don't need much crew, like you don't, the coronavirus, people, whether that's as serious as they make it out to be or whether we like overreacted, um, people are sort of like once bitten, twice shy. They don't want to have like big productions. They don't want to do a ton of stuff. So now having a small crew that can do a lot of things and asking a lot of your crew, as long as you feed them well and pay them, you can do a good production now. Um,
That's a
where they'll
oh, sorry.
oh yeah tell
That was obviously one of the questions coming up. When did you film? Like wrap on filming,
well we filmed in May 2018, so
and then
this is
19 it came out?
it's yeah. So even we got to play film festivals in person, which is good,
Okay.
and it's hard to get them out for then. So no wonder the film festivals just canceled after this started happening. But we the Houston one actually did have their jury look over the movies. We got selected for Houston, which was our biggest one, and then it got canceled. But they looked over it and gave us some awards, and then we got into another big one. So our biggest ones were in the ones that were canceled in 2020. We actually moved up the ladder in film festivals.
Okay.
Um, the Woods Hole one, the 29th Woods Hole. They've been around 29 years. They've been a long one. That was our other one. That it got kind of canceled, but they moved it to online.
So
And
instead of doing it in person, it was a
you got like a code, and you could see a bunch of shorts, bunch of documentaries, bunch of features
okay.
online. And so it was a lot of time. It was a lot of movies that were selected for Sundance or San Francisco Film Festival or Tribeca. That their first showing was at Woods Hole this year. So it was good to be among those films, and I felt bad for those filmmakers that South by Southwest, all these ones where they could have saw it with a crowd, they didn't get to see it with a crowd. We were fortunate enough to go and have about 6 or 7 showings in front of crowds.
Wow. Yeah, that's as like you said, whether it's as serious as it did as they make it out to be or not, we may never know with the corona thing, but everybody's still dealing with the effects of how it was made out to be or not to be, you know? It's
Yeah.
just with the economy of the nation, and then also the upcoming election, which I tend to stay out of that territory as much as possible.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's I don't think there's any clear right or wrong in that. It's very gray
I
and
have my
muddy.
theories where I have my theories where they don't. I can't believe the media would care about who our vote goes to or who the president is so much. They seem to care a lot, but I think it's a joke where they're like, "Oh, we really care about go out and vote. We really care about your vote," and then the corporations just buy the influence anyway.
Right. Yeah, no, do they care? Maybe. Unlikely though. Unlikely. What
I mean, if someone's giving me money and some other group of people is giving me paper with a pencil mark on it, I might take the money. And I'm not an evil person, so I hope not. So if so, I wonder what the people in power that really like power and money.
what you're saying money has a greater value than an IOU?
Yeah, or I'm saying like a vote, like a
Oh,
written ballot.
well, yeah, I guess
Yeah,
both
like
ways, yeah. Both circumstances. What what are future plans? I think I heard you talk about that on another interview or so, but what are your future plans for as far as creating stuff?
oh, we got the I got a film I was going to shoot in September. It was going ahead, like the crew and cast were on board, in locations are still skittish about if I was paying for locations and accommodations, like on Airbnb or something, I could do it, but I didn't have that allocated in the budget. And I was like, well, let me see how this does. It might do better than I think and could actually do a bigger budget. But I was relying on friends for accommodations and locations like you do on normal independent films. And then they were skittish about people being in their house because they're spraying Corona all over from their pores, you know.
Right, yeah.
But I was like, I am testing people for uh, temperature and you can use the blood oxygen. You put on their finger and you can see your blood oxygen level. That's a good indicator. So hopefully it'll calm down by spring and I'll start another project. And by then I can totally dedicate the time to promoting Body Swap and giving it, you know, squeezing as much money as I can from it that to make another project. Every when you support this movie, you're supporting future movies. So uh, thank you if you do.
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. Anytime you can get, attention drawn to, light drawn on something, even if it's older. I've even seen that with the little amount of production that I do with this show and other things. Just it does kinda pay itself forward.
The good thing, yeah, about independent films is they have like a word of mouth and they build, and you don't have to go in and make a bunch of money. They never get old. This came out in October for the virtual release. It's sort of like I released the trailer about a year ago. Yeah, like in 2019 summer, I released the trailer, and maybe next time I'll release the trailer closer to the release. But I got four more trailers lined up that are like of different era styles, like 80s and 90s. But I had the trailer out and then did the film festival thing, and then that actually builds up some, a little bit of buzz and saying, "Hey, I got an award from this 50-year running Houston Film Festival. I got it from this 30-year running festival, Woods Hole. I got all these awards and encores, and um, I think that does make people more willing to go check it out."
Well, hopefully, like you said, spring, future projects. Now's been I mean, as far as 2020 goes, this is the year. I don't know what we're gonna do with this one, sweep it under the rug, or I don't think anybody's gonna
I
really.
mean, in a way, you can always improve. I feel like 2020 is a way to improve in a lot of ways of like getting in shape and just um, learning more um, stuff. Like you don't have as much distractions anymore.
No.
So maybe, learn some new things, spend more time with people uh, that uh, than you normally did. I think, yeah, we have learned we don't need to go, the corporations were not going to like embrace telecommuting unless they were forced to. So now, you know, now they've realized also they can make a profit not having these huge buildings. So it's going to change a lot of things, I think.
I tend to agree on that. Anybody that I'm not saying anybody, but a lot of people trying to buy and get equipment to start doing an online whatever show or teaching or to get into a classroom if they didn't have the computer, the camera, microphone, whatever. It was sold out a lot of places and a lot of stuff with the amount of people that tried to get it. It was almost insane that you couldn't order anything, and then the only people that had it were people that had bought it all up and were attempting to do the equivalent of, like, scalping a movie ticket or
Yeah,
a
yeah.
concert ticket.
I saw that. I saw that. Well, what's funny is the web cameras, were are not have not improved. They're not like regular movie cameras. Those improve all the time.
Right.
Um, the web cameras have not improved, in the best high end ones have not improved in 2 3 years. So you'd hope they make better ones now. I have this one on my computer, and I bought one. It was like only $20, even with all the markups. But I mean, it was Chinese one, that they, knockoff. And I got it shipped and it was no good. It barely worked. And so I just used the one on my computer. But maybe I'll upgrade my setup and start streaming or something. But the movie thing doesn't, if I don't do the movie thing.
What, do you know another thing I had a question about, do you know about the gear? I've heard you mention Red cameras for part of the movie. Like, do you
Hmm.
know any of the gear that you did the movie with? Or is that
Yeah. The main movie was shot with a it's a Panasonic. I forget what the name is, but it's a Panasonic that's like $2,000.
okay,
Um,
the full frame Panasonic
and yeah, it's like a 4K Panasonic. I'm trying to think of the name of it,
S
but
S1
and then you would
S1
hook it
again?
up to an Atomos, and it has like a monitor. There's an Atomos monitor, and the Atomos sometimes burns in like the data
Right.
that's like on the VHS, like it almost like a VHS has things on it. So you got to make sure that that setting's off. But the Atomos does a really good job of like telling you where the light is, recording 4K video onto like a big hard drive, and that's only $1,000. So we only had a $3,000 camera setup, but I mean we had expensive lenses on it and various different lenses and um, stuff like that, and lighting. It makes a big difference, and then you add the color in post, and that's another thing.
Yeah.
Uh, and yeah, going through meticulously changing the color, meticulously focusing only on the sound effects, you start to notice what's missing. Almost everything has to be added in post.
Yeah, I think, to make a movie with gear like that, and whether it's independent or not, I've seen and read online other people making, like, technology is so much more affordable now, like, now than it ever has been for people to start creating. Like, what you can do
Yeah,
with
and I mean that's why I'm sure I'll make another one, because whether this makes $1 million, it won't do that, or breaks even, which is way under $1 million, or it doesn't make any money. I made like it's made a little bit right now in the limited release, um, to my liking, but uh, whether it does that, I mean, you just you take that and you use it for the next project in however way. If you say, "Hey, this made $0" to your friends and filmmaking friends, let's make another one. We learn more. They'll get on board as long as like there's food and you're like shooting around their schedule. They might do it. And if you make a lot of money, then you can up their salary a little bit and pay them. So I would say just keep making those films if you got the time and the energy to do it and the know-how.
right. What, w how did you come about to wanting to make a movie? Like, did you have anything you were into before and you're like, "You know what? I'm gonna make a movie." How'd you get to that point?
Well, I used to draw cartoons as a kid and would do them for my school newspaper and do little animations. And I would take film class. Got into film class, acting class in college and high school, end of high school. And so that's where I met my friend that I directed Body Swap with, Tim Morton, and he went off and did some more movies on his own. I did just regular. I took care of my handicapped uncle, and I got paid. Um, Government pays you for that, you know. Um, and then I decided I'll make a movie uh, after I sold my house, and so I went to him, and we had made a movie, the $0 movie that was, we shot piecemeal for 7 years and just sort of cobbled together, and we decided to make a bigger project, and that's what Body Swap is.
What was the $0 movie?
It's called New Cops, and you can look at that online. I think it's free online. NEW Cops, COPS,
Right.
New Cops. So it's harder to find because when you look up new cops, you find articles about hiring new cops.
Right. Yeah, I was
So
just
you
thinking.
might have to add my name, but you'll find it, and it's online.
All right. Is that you said online for free?
Hmm. Yeah,
All right. Well, there you go. If anybody's bored and you want to go out and check out a movie, search New Cops, add Jimmy, his name into the title, and you may
yeah,
have
and then
something to watch.
that's yeah, and then that may give you your free way of seeing if you want to pay for body swap or not.
And you said you did that shot and just put it all together over the course of 7 years?
Yeah, like my friend just would shoot scenes from it for 7, 8, I don't know, years, and just when he got enough footage to make a whole movie, he edited it together.
Right. That's a lengthy process. Like the small bit I know about shooting and editing videos for a free platform like YouTube, it doesn't even compare. Like that's a process, and to do what you guys have done and put it together in movie format, it seems like there's so much more to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like the difference between making a sandwich and making like a 8 foot long sub because it's like it's very everything's so much longer. So uh it it falls it everything has to lead into another thing, it's not a 10-minute video.
Right.
It's almost easier. I would say if you would think if editing a 10-minute video took a month, then well, you can edit a movie in a month, but I mean, if you could probably edit a 10-minute video in a day,
Yeah.
but it would take a
It.
at least a month or two to do 70-minute video because it's one thing becomes another thing, and you gotta like it's all got to tie together, and it's all got to keep people's attention for 70 minutes, which is really hard nowadays. Um, at least it's not 2 hours. I don't know where movies are going. Um, it's kind of funny. I think people will sit down and watch someone play a video game for 2 hours before they watch a plot for 2 hours.
Yeah. I.
Um,
You hear about the attention span, and like you're just saying, watching gameplay of whatever versus these characters and what happens with them, it's kind of baffling. I come from the time of VCRs. Like that's when I started watching movies, VHS tapes. So that's why I like tangible, able to hold it in my hands media and enjoy it. Read the liner notes, whatever it may be. But I just it takes an attention span to do that. And it seems like not everybody, but overall, in general, the attention span of what they're willing to spend time on is, like you said, not what it used to be. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
Well, it just matters where they put it. Like I think the podcasts are more popular than ever, and those are hour long. So you're lucky there. Like
well, there's
people, but I do think movies are sort of a dying art form in a weird way. It's just so weird. And like even an hour long TV show, people will watch 7 episodes of an hour long, 7 hours of TV
right.
of a show, but an hour of movie is maybe too much. Um, I really like a movie because I think it's the best for your attention span because it's over, You don't have to follow the characters forever. They have a conclusion. You know, you know, it's not will they make a new season? Will they do this? Will the season go off the rails and be bad? It's what it is.
That and also the level of content that you're getting with on-demand media, like Netflix produced TV shows, and like some of that stuff was rivaling can rival or be better than stuff that was made by like the bigger networks, like for TV.
Yeah,
Like
for sure.
just the
I mean,
quality characters and then spin-offs of spin-offs. It's insane where they take stuff these days.
yeah. Um, I put like my ideas in two different categories where it would be maybe a long form. I maybe have one or two long form ideas. I maybe only have one TV show idea where you could have more of a long form idea, and then most of them ideas come in movie form where I would rather just get it done for the audience in, a sitting, you know, an hour and a half.
What I still like about movies, and I don't know, this is probably, I hopefully, not hopefully, but you possibly agree, is when you have a movie, you can get your idea out and wrap it up in a nice, neat package. But what you see with TV shows that run on for multiple seasons, it's like the creative team changes, and so many seasons
Mhm.
will be great. And then you'll have like a dive for a couple seasons, and they're like, oh, this ain't working. And they try to get some of their creative team back to revive it. And then it just, some shows abruptly end.
Well, it Simpsons just got. I remember back in 2000. I'm this old. People were saying Simpsons was going off the rails. Like Behind the Laughter was the last good episode. Look how bad it is now. I watched it maybe 10 years after 2000. I watched it at least till 2010, 11, 12. And now I couldn't watch that show. It's just not the same. And it's more polished than ever. If you look at the old Simpson episodes, they're hand drawn, they're crude, but
Yeah, very.
people like those ones better because so it's almost, I almost don't want to polish to my projects. If I had blockbuster budget, I would probably make more movies with it more than just one big expensive extravaganza. I think there's something about the hand drawn uh style of that old Simpsons where they, you know, just did everything by hand and um it was, just new and exciting that I like.
Definitely. I agree. I dig it. I dig the older stuff over the newer, definitely. Um, and it just seems like a movie you can get the idea out, convey it, if there's enough attention and enough want for it, you can make a part two or a sequel or whatever. Versus TV shows that just run on and on till they whatever inexplicably end or whatever demise they meet because of viewership or just
Yeah,
like everybody's had enough. Even if it was
yeah,
even popular shows ending, like Game of Thrones, they wanted them to keep doing that, and the actors are like, "No, we're done."
yeah. I mean, it probably took a lot out of them to do a show like Game of Thrones. It just seems very intense days. Um, uh, what I would wonder is, yeah, I thought Breaking Bad's like one of the few shows where it ended great, and then I thought the spinoffs were really good. Like I thought that was a logical thing was to do something before Breaking Bad because there's so much uh, stuff that Saul did in Breaking Bad that he just knew all these characters that he introduced to Walter White. But you want to see how it got to that point. He introduced him to Gus. He introduced him to the Disappearer guy. He introduced him to um, all these people, and uh, so it made logical sense to end that show and do a prequel with a different actor. I thought that made a lot of sense and was a good. That's one of my favorite shows.
Is the spinoff from Breaking Bad?
Well, just Breaking Bad, like I call it the whole Breaking Bad universe. I consider Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad the same show.
Right.
Um, but I have watched Breaking Bad maybe 3 times and Better Call Saul only once, so I might rewatch that at some point. Um, it's I just really like that show.
And I think people as a whole, anyways, people, because some people don't even watch TV or movies. And I can understand that because there's some stuff I don't care to watch as a person. But I think the people that do watch as a whole, like, I don't think there's anybody that's really like, oh, I'm not interested in the origin story or how did it begin. You know, if you
Hmm.
get questions by watching something, usually when there's questions, people want to know. They want answers, and when the answers lead to more questions, that's kind of what pulls more people in. You know.
Hmm.
At least I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not that creative, so that's just my guess on
Oh, you're creative, Nick.
it. All right. Uh, any final words here? Gonna try and wrap up on 37.
No,
Wow,
I mean
man.
we had a good 45-minute show.
Yeah, something like that.
Very calm. I match your calm demeanor. But it was more crazy. There's some crazy hosts that really are excited. And it's like I like the calm, discussion of things where um it's just a different podcast for every person. So
Man,
like
there's so many
soon.
people creating them now, and there was a huge
Hmm.
uptick due to there's been a huge uptick in everything creative, I think, due to Corona.
Hmm.
But yeah, no, thank you. Thanks a million for coming on. I definitely appreciate it. I always like
Oh, no problem. I
talk
really liked it.
talking to a new
Um,
person.
Check out bodyswapmovie.com. I always
Bodyswapmovie.com.
plug my stuff.
You said, here, I'm gonna pull it up real quick again just to throw it on the screen for people. Give me 1 second. And this is on Vimeo,
Hey,
right?
can you play the trailer from there? You can play the trailer, can't you?
Let me see if I can play that trailer.
Scroll up. You gotta scroll back up,
What, right,
and then
right
it
here?
just says like, yeah, watch trailer. Yeah.
2 natty lights, please.
I got that.
This girl? No, you don't. This girl's so high maintenance, so annoying.
High maintenance doesn't scare me, baby.
I'm a lesbian. How's it going?
Girl on girl's my favorite.
I have diarrhea.
I have diarrhea right now.
Your resume really jumped out at me. We have the same name, except I usually go by CJ.
What's the J stand for? Casey Jones, I got it. Even machines must obey the law. Guy with the hockey mask.
Oh, Friday the 13th. Okay. Where's Casey?
No, I haven't seen him.
Him?
So here, let me get your jacket. You seem a little out of sorts.
What is this? The fat guy in a little coat bid from Tommy Boy? I'm leaving.
How did this happen?
Pump the brakes, lady. I don't swap bodies every day.
Well, I'm a career-minded woman. I can't go to work like this.
I'll be you, and you be me, and that's it.
This is a nightmare.
It's a fluid situation.
Oh, if by fluid you mean it's on an IV bag, then yeah, it is.
There are so many ants. I know. I knew that too. I mean, I'm cool with ants.
Or if by fluid you mean it's an episode of CSI, then yeah, it's a fluid situation.
I thought you and me were Williams.
What did you do?
What all girls do when guys aren't around. Make out.
She's my frenemy.
You know what they say about the frenemy of my frenemy is my frenemy.
So I have the same name as the guy?
No, you have got to learn the difference between your goalie mask wearing maniacs.
So there you go.
Let's swap it back over. Oh, where are you? There you are. All right. It shrank you for
Mhm.
some reason. You may return back to normal size. You might not. Anyhow, Jimmy
Yeah.
Kustes, that's your movie? All right, man.
Hmm. Yeah. And then you saw me there. I'm a little bit chubbier in the trailer.
Again, thank you for coming on. Shame our co-host couldn't be here today. I'm sure he had questions, but maybe we'll try and get you back on a future project.
Oh, no problem. Yeah. I mean, I'll even come back on if I got the time. Never mind. It just depends.
All righty, man. Anyhow,
Thank you so much.
we're going to get out of here.
Later, audience. Later, podcast friends out there.
Have a good week. Be safe. And we will see you back here again, possibly Halloween, possibly on another day.